Hey, Central Florida, Laz here, owner and lead engineer of HomeLink Tech. In today's install, we actually have a pretty unique install. It was one of those situations that we couldn't do any structural changes to the home. That means no low voltage boxes, no drilling. So that kind of complicated things a little bit because in order to get a clean install and wire running for this customer, we had to do some outside the box thinking. So let's go ahead and jump right into that and I'll show you what we did here. This customer gave us a call because they were having issues with their Wi-Fi speeds and Wi-Fi coverage. Quickly uncovered, it is due to the internet service provider default router that they provide at a cost of $10 a month with Spectrum. So they were paying for the 1 gig package with Spectrum, and they were realistically getting anywhere between 20 to 30% of those speeds. So what we offered this customer as a solution was a 3-pack Deco unit, and that is this Deco unit here by TP-Link. This is the AX1500, has 2 gigabit ports in the back. We also put down here a unmanaged TP-Link 5-port, 1 gigabit on each port switch. And essentially what this allowed us to do is this is essentially the main hub for their Wi-Fi. Obviously hardwired to the modem, and then we have 2 more units that were strategically placed in the home to provide the best possible coverage. Now, those units were what we call backhauled, right? Where we were able to, with an Ethernet cable, connect them directly to the source of the internet, which is the modem. Now, the way we did this is the TP-Link switch is actually connected to the main hub here for the Deco, and then the Deco is connected to the modem. You never want to connect that switch directly to the modem because then it won't be able to communicate with the other devices. The modem won't be able to tell that switch what it is that it needs it to do. Your Wi-Fi mesh system will. So again, we connected the switch directly to the Wi-Fi mesh main hub here, which is this puck right here. So we'll go ahead and move into the other rooms, and then we'll kind of show you the speeds that the customer is now getting due to the setup that we have. We've also installed some new cameras for the customer. The previous setup just was not cutting it for them in terms of the quality of the video, but most importantly, they were not getting sufficient Wi-Fi connection. They were getting somewhere in the ballpark of about 1 to 2 bars of Wi-Fi connection, and it would drop off periodically on the customer. So we went ahead and upgraded them to a new camera system, and then we also obviously hooked up the Wi-Fi as well. Real quick, this was a very unique situation. I said that in the beginning of the video because we could not do any modification to the walls as the customer does not own the home, so we couldn't go up in the attic to properly. The way you really want to do this is you want to run your Ethernet cables through the attic, down the wall, and then create yourself a low voltage cutout, and then go ahead and put an Ethernet connector there so that you have a clean install. So we had to think outside the box. Customer did give us permission to run the wires along the baseboard through the carpet as well. So we were able to hide the wires good. We were able to ensure that the wires are going to last a long time. They're not being affected by being down there in any way. Obviously, there's some things you want to keep in mind. When you have carpet, usually that along the baseboard, there's a little strip with little nails poking up. But right behind it, there's a channel, and that's where we put that wire. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the office, and then we'll show you what the speeds are looking like now for that customer. All right, so we're actually in the office now. Again, like I said, one of the challenges with their previous router that was provided through the internet service provider, which in this case was Spectrum. Yes, it was a Wi-Fi 6E router. It was a pretty good router, but unfortunately, it wasn't sufficient to cover the home, and gives you a little more control when you get rid of the internet service provider equipment and purchase your own. You also save a ton of money. So this client only paid 120 bucks for this unit. Was actually is a 3-pack of these Wi-Fi meshes, and they were paying 10 bucks a month for Spectrum's router. So you do the math, 120 bucks in a year, this thing will pay itself. So what we did here is we did a backhaul connection with this Deco unit here. So we have a Ethernet cable that's going all the way back to the switch in the main area where the modem is at. And that's how we have this connected here. The computer is also hardwired to this unit as well through an additional switch. You want to avoid additional switches as much as possible. You want to keep it in that you don't ever want to go more than one, but if you do, it's okay. It's not going to affect your speeds, as we're going to see here. Um, so just keep that in mind. In this situation, we did have to go with an additional one because, again, we were limited to what we can actually do in terms of running wires. Therefore, we ended up having to put an additional switch here. So I'm going to show you what their internet speeds look like now. Once again, I do want you to keep in mind this computer is actually hardwired, but I'm also going to show you what the speeds are like on Wi-Fi. So running a speed test here, you can see the download speeds. This client is now getting, I mean, they're paying for the 1 gig plan and they're getting over 900 megabits per second consistently. They're not having absolutely, I mean, obviously you want to, account for any outages that Spectrum may have, but this is pretty good. So the 1 gig plan with Spectrum gives you up to 1 gig of download and up to 40 megabits per second on uploads. So as you can see, they're getting, I mean, almost the full connection here, just over 90% of their internet speeds. So we're going to go ahead and run a speed test on Wi-Fi. We're going to go ahead and disconnect from the Ethernet. Just waiting for this to connect here. All right, so now we're on Wi-Fi. We're going to go back here. We're going to go ahead and just refresh this page. And we're going to run another speed test on Wi-Fi. Obviously, keeping in mind the unit is right next to the computer. But as you can see that the Wi-Fi is almost getting that 900 megabits per second. Obviously, if you can go hardwire on the devices that are going to consume the most data, then you definitely want to go that route because you're going to get reliable connection over Ethernet than you are with Wi-Fi. But as you can see here, this client's actually getting just about the same thing as they are getting on Wi-Fi. Now, obviously, Wi-Fi speeds are also going to vary depending on the device, right? This is a Mac Mini M4 variant, so hence the reason why they're getting these internet speeds. This is a Wi-Fi 7 compatible device, so now, this unit is not a Wi-Fi 7 compatible device, but of course, that chip in there is the latest and greatest, going to allow the customer for better Wi-Fi connectivity. So there you have it. This is in the main office. This is a section of the home where they were probably getting 10 to 15 megabits per second on the Wi-Fi because this is all concrete in here. And there's really just one door here, and then the other main Deco or the Wi-Fi, the router in this case, was actually on the other side of this wall. But with this Wi-Fi mesh system from TP-Link, this is the Deco AX1500. We were able to get this customer's internet speeds pretty consistent. With that, I do want to add something that a lot of people really don't know, especially consumers. They're not aware that the reality is that most internet providers do give you up to 90% of what you're paying for. It's not the service provider. A lot of times it's your setup. And that's where HomeLink Tech LLC comes into place. We come in, we overhaul your system, and we get you with, reliable internet connection. So let's go ahead and go into the master bedroom, which is where the other Deco unit is at. And I'll show you what those speeds are like. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so here we have the third Deco unit, which is, again, a Wi-Fi mesh system. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what speeds this customer is getting now with that Wi-Fi mesh unit inside the master bedroom, which previously was probably getting about 100 megs out of the 1 gig plan that they were paying for. Again, this is hardwired to their Apple TV 4K, which has the Ethernet plug on it. And we backhauled this unit as well. Make sure to hardwire this Deco unit to give them the optimal internet speeds. So we're going to go here into speed test and also the TV. We also mounted this for the customer. They did get permission from the owner, so long as I provided a in writing that I would come back if the homeowner moved out and that I would patch this personally. And so I did provide them with that because, again, for me, ultimately, it's all about the experience that I provide my customers. So the customer wanted a clean looking install. So as you can see, there's no wires visible here. So we're going to go ahead and run a speed test here. And as you can see, 15 milliseconds in latency. I mean, again, just like we were getting on the desktop for the most part, right around the same speeds. And then Wi-Fi as well is going to be pretty similar. Do keep in mind this is an Apple TV, so the Wi-Fi chip in this is different from the Mac Mini, so speeds may vary. But again, look at the uploads, 41 megabits. I don't think you need crazy upload speeds on a Apple TV, but hey, that's impressive, man. Over 40 megabits on uploads. That's about 100% of what Spectrum guarantees you. So very, very good. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and turn off the Wi-Fi. And I'm sorry, we're going to go ahead and hook this up to Wi-Fi. So currently now it's on Ethernet. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to disconnect the Ethernet. Let's just make that simple. So there we go. Accidentally disconnected the HDMI cable. All right. Another thing I do want to point out here, guys. So one of the things that I do like about these Wi-Fi mesh systems that TP-Link offer is that it does offer you it has a roaming system built right into the system. So it's going to know when your device is going from room to room and seamlessly connect that device to the closest mesh unit and also ensure that it's getting optimal speeds as well. So let's go ahead and connect this to the Wi-Fi. And we'll see if the customer has their password saved. They do. Perfect. So we'll go ahead and run a speed test now on just Wi-Fi. And again, keep in mind, guys, this is not optimal placing here. The only reason this Wi-Fi mesh is next to the Apple TV is because this is where the client wanted it. So we make sure to put it there. We did various tests to make sure that none of these equipments here are affecting the Wi-Fi signal. For the most part, is not. I would argue that the Google Home they have here is certainly interfering in some kind of way, but not to a point where it's degrading the service to, you know, where it was previously. So running a speed test now on Wi-Fi. I'll kind of show you here what that looks like. Again, 15 milliseconds of latency. I'll let this thing do what it does. And again, in this room, just keep in mind, previously they were getting about 100 megs. So this is a significant increase from what they were previously getting. Most important thing here is that the jitter was significantly higher and they had a lot of package loss, which is going to affect your streaming. Where now, because they have a strong Wi-Fi signal, you know, it's getting over 300 megabits. And I mean, close to 40 megabits of uploads. And of course, that's going to vary. I would argue as well that speed impact is not just due to the limitations of the Wi-Fi chip on the Apple TV, but also the Google Home being here turned on at all times. Now, these other devices are powered off. So I would argue it's just that Google Home that's causing some sort of signal interference. And we'll run it again just to see see what the consistency of those speeds are like. Again, 15 milliseconds of latency. Well over 300 megabits per second on downloads. Heck, even pushing close to 400 here. But I think that's pretty consistent to what they're getting now with this new setup. But the client is not using this on Wi-Fi at all. We did some internet speed tests on the phones, and the client has iPhone 16s, I believe. And those iPhones were pulling 500, 600 megabits consistently inside the room on their devices. So again, I argue that this Apple TV is being affected by that. And then also, maybe it's an older device, so the Wi-Fi chip on that is not the latest. And that could also be affecting the Wi-Fi speed. So we're going to go ahead and put this back on the Ethernet. Let's go ahead and connect that Ethernet back. All right, so there you have it, guys. Again, we do offer the services of installing TVs like this. If you are in Central Florida and you're looking to have your TV mounted on the wall, whether it's in your living room, above a fireplace, in a garage, we'll come out, we'll give you a clean install like this. We'll also ensure that if your Wi-Fi signal is not sufficient, we'll make sure to hook you up. We'll get you set up with a similar setup like this, depending on it really depends. We tailor every solution to every customer based on their needs. But I thought this was sufficient. There was no need to get the customer a $400 Wi-Fi mesh system when this was going to be sufficient. We also did some tests with gaming with the consoles that they have in the home. no package loss, very little ping times. Latency was very, very low. So happy customer. All right, Central Florida, there you have it. Wanted to bring you along and kind of show you what our services can do for you. If you're in the market to expand your network and you're looking to better that Wi-Fi coverage, give us a call. We would love to serve you and your family at the highest possible levels. This is actually an example of something that we do offer. This client wanted this 70-inch TV put right above the fireplace. We wanted to hide the wires for them, but again, this one was a little more complex. The owner was not willing to allow them to do so because there is an actual fireplace here. They actually put a fake one in there, which I thought was pretty neat, and we hooked them up with a smart Tapo plug to control that fireplace through Alexa or their Google Home. Well, there you have it, Central Florida. Wanted to bring you along and show you what we have to offer. You kind of got to see what our client was dealing with. You see what solution we offered them. We had a little bit of challenges here with this install because we were not able to do the kind of install that we like to do, and those are clean installs that look like it was there when they built the home. But that doesn't mean that we don't accept challenges. So give us a call. If you're having network issues and you're in Central Florida, we would love to come out and service you and your family at the highest possible level. We do, again, tailor every solution to every customer. We don't just do network enhancement. We offer security camera installs. We are partnered with TipeeLink and Tapo and VIGI, which is through TipeeLink. And that is more of an enterprise solution. Yes, we do offer our services as well for small businesses. So if you're a small business and you're having internet connection issues, your access points aren't adequate, you're having issues with your switch system, give us a call. We would love to come out, evaluate your situation, and see how we can help you. Again, this is Laz. Look forward to helping you expand your network in your home and business.